I want to share with you one of my recent client meeting that I had. I want to kind of walk you through how I prepped for this meeting. To give you a little bit of context, this client relationship is a little bit different than any of the other ones that I prepped for. Sometimes I usually have an idea if they're going to be a buyer, seller, an investor, etc. But in this case, this client has never had, prior to they do own a property, but they're not quite sure exactly what to do at this point, and they don't have a lot of idea about leasing their property or if they should rent another property or if they should sell or buy. And there are a lot of different techniques and there's a lot of different method and approaches that they can take. And they wanted to hear my recommendations and suggestions. So I needed to really prep for this and to kind of educate them about the market, update them about the market, but also give them the pros and cons of what ways and approach that they can take. But before I dive into how I prepared, I want to quickly do an introduction and we'll get going. My name is Tharmila Rajasingam. I'm a real estate agent with EXP Realty Brokerage, and I'm also a kvCORE CRM peer coach with Insight Real Estate. And thank you so much for coming to this channel. I highly recommend you press that subscribe button so that we can learn and grow together. And I really appreciate it as well. And thanks so much for all of you coming here and supporting my content and messaging me and meeting with me. I really love this, and this is truly a way to build community and support each other in this space, whether or not you are at my brokerage or not. And I love that about this community. And I also want to mention that if you are looking to work with me closely and if you want to get access to all my training and resources for free and get access to all of our weekly mastermind calls and so much more, check out the links in the description below and book a call with me. And if you're ready to sign up and choose me as your sponsor, you know what to do. All the information is in the link below. Let's talk about prepping for client meeting and prep. Here's the thing. You want to know exactly what this meeting is going to be about. And of course, for me, in this particular instance I had, I want them to get to know me a little bit and what I can do, what my experiences were. But it was really about me getting to know them. And I prepped. Obviously, I took my listing presentation with me because they do own a property and they weren't quite sure if they want to sell it yet. And so I took a listing presentation with me, but with that, I add in a little bit more information and I shared them that I'm a real estate investor and my process of how I work with my property management company to vet my tenants and helping them understand the Tenancy Act. And it's very different in Ontario. If you are a Canadian agent, you would know that. And it's not the greatest landscape to be in if you're a landlord at times. So you need to do your due diligence when getting into the investment side of things. So how I prepped for this meeting was first and foremost, I looked up. So I'm part of the Toronto Real Estate Board. So I pulled in the most latest in the last quarter market report for the area in which that we, with the client lives, and also the potential possibilities of where they could go. And I also brought in some more information about the overall market that is happening in the greater Toronto area so that they have an understanding of what each properties are going for, what the process to buy and sell is. And I also took in some information like a one pager on each of how to lease your property, but also how to lease a property because a rental was an option that this client was looking for. To give you some context, this is a couple that own a condo unit and they're looking to potentially upgrade and they want some more space with their aging parents wanting to move in with them, and they weren't quite sure if they should sell and buy or they weren't sure if they should lease their property and rent another property. And as you can see, this can go in so many different ways, or they can sell and then they can go rent as well. So there's a number of different ways that this can go, and I wanted them to be really prepped. So I also took in some more information about pros and cons. And I also took in some information, a little bit of a cash flow analysis of what it's like if they were to invest to make this an investment property and what that would look like. So I went into the to our realm to the MLS and I pulled in some reports of properties in the last 3 months, really last 30 days, because it is a quite still an active market. So I pulled in days to 3 months properties that were leased, how much they were leased for, average days on market of listings, of lease listings as well. So I took in really four lists. So of lease properties, of listings that were available, also potential properties that they could buy, but also properties that were sold that were very similar to theirs. So I took in a draft, high level CMA with me, letting them know that I'd love to still see their property and do a walkthrough and do a proper listing presentation if they decided to move forward with selling. So this was really is an information type of an information gathering meeting for me, but it was more of a meeting where they wanted to know what was all of their option and the pros and cons and the process in which if they were to go with one option, what that process would be like. So I had to take a lot of information with me, but at the same time figure out a way to present this in a more concise and simple manner. So for me, I started out with, let's talk about your property. Let's talk about your current circumstances. And I showed them a light CMA. I showed them the process of listing their property. Really, really, I summed it in 5 to 10 minutes, very lightly, concise, high level. And I talked about the pros and cons of that. And then I talked about buying and what that process is like. Walk them through the buying. I let them know that I would put them in touch with the potential mortgage agents, lawyers, etc. And I also showed them properties that they could potentially buy because they did tell me that they would like to stay in the downtown core, which they're already living. And they kind of hinted to me and they were joking that they made a comment like, I don't know where I would go. I love living downtown. So that's a key information. And I know they work downtown. So that was informative. And I also live downtown. So it was easier for me to pull some of these numbers and I'm very familiar with their building. So you it's important for me to have, prep for this meeting in a way that I was going to best serve them and make it easier for them to make a decision. And if you've noticed, and I do this all the time, 90% of the time, I always go in with data. That's why I had 4 different lists. I went in and got the community reports. I got the market report from the current month as well as the last quarter. And so I can always just go back to numbers and stay, leveraging data, facts based analysis in order to make my recommendations and suggestions so that they're better supported that way. And it was a very successful conversation. And now I'm waiting to hear back from the client or what they want to move forward with. And I also put them in touch with mortgage agents so that they can look into that option of what would look like if they were to go and purchase another property and what their budget would look like. And I also went with a lot of questions so I can get to know them, and we had a really good time. And I wanted to share with you all of that. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you would prep for a meeting like this where it is, it could go any ways and it was quite complex and there was a lot of information to share. And what are some ways you were able to do that? And I will tell you, I took printouts. I did have my laptop with me, so I was able to pull out some information, but I also love taking print and having something tangible because they were able to take something with them, one. And two, internet, you never know if you can, although you can always hotspot from your phone, but you never know how the internet is going to go with pulling data and information. So I even had a folder on my laptop that was offline, and I also had access to my internet. I signed in, I went a little bit early, and I also had everything in printout. And then I always do this after every client meeting. I sent them an email with everything we talked about and making sure that they are able to share that with their partner. And then I'm going to follow up in a couple of days to see what their thoughts are if I don't hear from them already. And I love to hear what your processes are. And as you mentioned, anything that I learn, a lot of what you learn on this channel is from my own experience of working with other agents, coaching them, but also for me working in the space as a realtor as well. And the most important part is I bring in a lot of those marketing strategies and having worked in the marketing space for some time now. So if you want to work with me, partner with me here at eXp Realty, you know what to do. Click on that link in the description below, book a call. I'll be happy to meet with you and share all of the information about eXp Realty and see for a good fit. And if our resources and training is better suited to grow your business as well. Thanks so much for coming by. I'll see you next time.